Now, the next thing which is very, very important is understanding value and the price. Do you know how to identify value of the company? And a lot of people, they don't. And it's, sometimes it's pretty tough. In reality, like assuming that, simplification, I'll show you. Assuming that this room, you're going to buy it, and you're going to buy it for business purpose. For example, to hire it for different events, seminars, conferences, etc., etc. Now, how much you're going to pay it? If somebody comes to you and say, look, you're going to buy this business particular for, let's say, $50,000. Are you going to pay it or not? How would you know? You don't know, right? So, and for you it's important to assess it and tell you, okay, it includes tables, chairs, screen, TV, and it's already worth of, for example, $20,000. Okay, so that's cool. Also, we have a database of all these different businesses which run events here, and we monthly generate, for example, $5,000 of profit after all expenses. And here you already can count, okay, if I put $50,000, how many months I can get my money back, right? So if I sell equipment, I get 20 straight away, and then I have another 6 months to cover my expenses, and then I break even, and after that I'm making profit. So in this case, you kind of understand the value of the business. You understand how much this business generates for you from the cash point of view. If you buy in another room and they have no database, you have only chairs, tables, and everything, and after that nobody is going to knock into your doors and asking for business, the value of that business would be really different. So you need to understand how much cash company generates. Okay, that's the important part. Now, what happens in majority of time? So this is this orange line. Just a second, guys. I'm going to switch the engine. Okay, so this orange line, that's value, and the green line is price. What happens in the stock market? That majority of people, they make their decision based on price. When they decide to buy a company, they tell you, oh look, this company increased in price for the last 3 years, every year 10%. So they look at price growth, not at the value growth. And what happens that very often the green line, the price, grows faster than the value. So for example, imagine that the profitability of the company grows 10% each year. So it was $1 million, then $1,100,000, then $1,200,000, 20, and it started growing. But the price of that company might grow 15% or 20% higher each year. So it kind of goes faster than its profitability. And I'll show you how you can identify that later. But what happens on the peak? Okay, it doesn't show there, but on the peak of green line. Bad news.
You can show me the cursor.
Oh yeah, perfect. So yeah, so when it comes here, that's where a fall happens. When it's overvalued, when the company worth too much, and I show you today how you can easily identify it by looking at only one parameter. And but majority of newbies, new people, they buy here. I don't know if you heard some stories when the hedge fund manager who was managing $1 billion, $1 billion in assets was coming, and the shoe man told him, "Oh, did you buy this company in Rome? It looks like a good stock." He went up to his office and told, "Sell everything on Enron which we have." And he told that if everyone knows that we need to buy it, it's time to sell. It's like, because the price, the highest point, if everyone is buying, so people paying the maximum, it cannot go even higher, because it's already Schumann, who never deals with stock market, knows that you need to buy it, so it's time to get out. And sure enough, after that it collapses. And why it collapses? Because of some kind of news, and then it starts falling. And the question is, why it doesn't fall until its value? Why it falls quite often, it falls below its value, much lower. Why do you think it happens?
It's overvalued.
Yeah, it was overvalued here.
Yeah.
Here it becomes undervalued. Why it's falling below its value? For example, this conference room, if you're going to buy and then the bad situation happens and the guy needs money and he starts selling it and sells already at $10,000.
Panic, desperation.
Fear?
Fear, absolutely, fear, desperation. But the funny enough that If you sell all the stuff here, you might generate 20K, but he's going to sell it for 10K. The reason why, he doesn't know the worth, how much he can sell it for. So that's what's happening here very often. Majority of people don't read financial statements. They base their decision only on technical analysis. That's it. They don't pay attention to that. They don't know where the value is. Simple example, imagine that you are decided to build a house or buy a house. You want a house for yourself, not for investment, for your own self. And you found estate, perfect for you. You know that land cost, for example, $1 million, and to build a house cost $500,000. So altogether, if you build it yourself, and you assuming that you know how to do it, or you know your husband or wife or friend or brother knows how to do it, and you know that in 4 months' time you can build a perfect house, and it would cost you with all labor and everything $1.5 million. Okay, you know that. And the next house to yours, similar to what you're planning to build, on the sale for $2 million. Now, what are you going to do? Build a house or buy a house?
Build house.
Build. Simple, because you understand how much it's worth, right? Now, the question is, if somebody is selling the house now for $1,400,000, are you going to build or buy?
Buy.
You buy because it's cheaper than to build. But you do it only when you know it. What happens in reality? Somebody offers you $1.4 million to sell their house. What people say? Something wrong with you, start bargaining, and they lose opportunity because the person who understands it comes and what grabs it from, and then you learn the market and you see, oh my goodness, every house was like $2 million, and I lost an opportunity. Similar situation happens with stock market. Value investor like me, like a lot of value investors, we come to buy here. And believe me, you need to have certain mindset to be able to do it, because you go against everyone. Everyone is telling you to sell, and we go and buy. Why? Because we based our decision on logic, not emotions. And here it's a lot of emotions. Usually newspapers or like media, they're telling bad stuff about company, or they're firing people, they're closing their stores, they're losing their market, or their product is bad, blah, 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 blah. But we come and analyze. If we know that they're closing companies, stores which are unprofitable, they're firing people who like idle, they don't need to have them in company, they kind of reduce their cost. They already implemented and they developed new product, and the old product is already off the shelves. If we know that that problem is solvable, we come in and buy it.
How do you know that?
That's I'm going to show you how. Okay, and if you buy it here, sure enough, the good company is turned around. It's always. And after that, you can make a lot of money because it starts growing. And the interesting thing, it doesn't stop here at value. Why? Because people don't know where value is. Simple as that. And it grows all the way up on a high level, and you can make quite a lot of money.
So you buy and hold it then?
You buy and hold. That's the part of value investing. I'm going to show you two strategies today, main strategy. It's value investing and another option strategies. And I'll show you how you can combine them. Okay, so in this case.
Before you go there, just a couple of questions. So how do you arrive at the intrinsic value?
That's it. It's not
just
the
assets of the company, or
it's not specific price. You cannot tell it like $25 intrinsic value. It's usually a gap. It's a range. For example, between 22 and 25. And when people calculate intrinsic value, they use different prediction, because in this particular case, you can say, okay, fine, I believe that company is going to grow 10% year after year. Another person might say, no, I believe that company is going to have 15% growth per year. So for one person, the intrinsic value would be lower. For another person, the intrinsic value will be higher. So you have to assess it yourself. You don't have to rely on somebody else. You have to assess it. And the way you do it, the way I do it, I look at the past. Okay? If I see that the company was growing for the last several years with a rate of, let's say, 20%, and now they're telling that they continue growth with the same rate, okay, I can see it. Like if it's for a long period, company was growing like 20%, I might believe that it's continued to grow with the same rate. Or I might reduce it. I might say, okay, when the company becomes bigger, usually it's more difficult to grow with the same rate. Okay, I might assume that the company is going to grow 10% only, and might base my decision on that kind of discounted value already. Okay, so it's more like an art already here on deciding.
So it's not the assets of the company. Intrinsic
No,
value.
it's not assets. Assets, it would be book value. That would be balance value of the company. And here it's a tricky thing. Very good question, by the way. For example, if we look at chairs, computers, screens, and book value, what is? If we buy a table, as soon as we buy it, it's worth less. We can't sell for the same price. Okay. On books, although it would be full price.
Depreciation.
Then 6 months later, 1 year later, it becomes depreciated. So they discount, and they discount based on the they call like duration of lifetime of this table, and they say, okay, 4 years, so 25% deducted first year, 25 second year, etc. In 4 years' time, from the book's point of view, it's zero. Now tell me, can this table stay here for 5 years?
Yeah.
Can. So sometimes you have nothing on the books, but you still have asset. But from another point of view, if you have this table on the book, you just bought it, and it's full price there, in reality you can't sell it. So book value could be tricky. Okay, it depends on what kind of assets you have. Because if you have a computer, it's 4 years depreciation. As soon as you buy it, it's practically impossible to sell it. And a lot of companies, they won't sell it, even if they go in bankrupt. The reason? That could be some confidential information, they have to destroy them and they wouldn't do it. Now another example, mining companies, oil pumping companies. As soon as you put all this equipment, it has a lot of value on the books, but you can't sell it. That's it. If there is no oil there, you can't sell it. It just completely goes to zero. So you have to understand this, what type of business you assess. So that's why book value, in some cases, it's very valuable. You need to understand because it includes cash in the company, it includes inventories, like product and process, and all assets which you have parallel. But in some companies, book value is really low. Now, let's have a look, for example, compare Ford and Google. Where do you think book value would be proportionally higher to the price? Google will have, what's their book value? Only computers, let's say. Whereas Ford, all these parts, all this equipment, ready to sell cars, and it's everything has to be there. Okay. Whereas Google charging you for advertisement, it has only people and like a few computer servers, and etc., etc. So their book value compared with Ford would be much smaller, like compared to the price. The price to book value ratio would be much higher. So this is very thing which you have to take into account and then compare. But it's we're going to already do.
You said Google book value is higher or low?
Lower. Okay, so
Right.
Book
Because
value.
the way it works like
they don't have any assets.
so, for example, if the price of the stock $10, okay, with a Ford, it might be book value 5. Whereas if the stock price 10 for Google, it might be only 1 assets because they have only computers. Here they have not only computers, they have like computers, they have stocks, they have material which they just purchased, metal, and after that they have ready to sell stock as well. So it's quite a lot of assets, okay, they will have. That's why book to price would be really low. It's ratio book to value. Here book to value, book to price, it would be pretty high, you know. So you need to understand what industry you're working. For example, HR industry. If you're employing people, and we're going to look at one company, which their main business is to employ people. Do you think their book value would be low or high? You understand? Yes, so that's the point. All right. So our purpose, like of investing, is to find the companies which are here. If you manage to buy it, that's an amazing situation. And I always compare it
So
like
amber line is basically
undervalued. Now, the way it works,
so amber line is basically a prediction. It's just if I draw an amber line, it will be different, and if you draw your amber line, it will be different.
could be, yeah, absolutely, right. Yeah. So you're right. Now, I always compare it with a ball. Imagine that you took a ball and trying to put it under water. What happens with the ball? It wants to go up. As soon as you let it go, right, it just jumps out. So similar stuff happens with companies. As soon as emotions they passed, and bad stuff disappeared from the media. People start buying and start growing really, really fast. And I'll show you a few examples as well later of the company.
So the graph what you have shown is on yearly graph or what is the?
It doesn't really matter, it's just a principle. That's usually value grows steadily. I mean, if the value of the company grows, it doesn't grow like with jumps, where price can grow much faster and price can fall much faster as well.
But if somebody got a lot of money, they just buy they affect the market too.
Like you have to have so much money because I mean, or have to buy the whole company in this case.
If 1 million would be affected?
No,
No?
no, 1 million wouldn't affect even a thing, you know, so in the market.
No, I mean just that.
Like
Stop.
if it
Does
is
it
a small
stop?
company, you
Yeah.
will. There are some companies which have about 800 million shares exchanging hands a day. So if you put $1 million, it would be swallowed within 1 second.
Hmm.
People wouldn't even notice that you put $1 million there.
No, we're talking in that particular share.
Yes, like I'm talking about one company specific. So
Yeah.
because some companies they have trading level up to like $100 million within a day, and if you put $1 million, it won't affect that much a price move. Yes, if it is a smaller company, it might affect, but the bigger company, they're more difficult to affect it. But there are some, like Warren Buffett, when he comes and put $5 billion, definitely he will affect. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
the
what I'm
price.
saying. You can
Yeah.
play.
Absolutely, absolutely. And very often, the movement of the price, it was based on big hedge fund managers leaving that particular business. And sometimes it's really good because some hedge funds, they have to leave this company because they're moving money to another company. It doesn't mean that this company is bad or something like that. They have a lot of hedge funds, they have a regulation that they can't allocate more than, for example, 5% in one particular stock. And imagine that if they took some money from one particular business and now they have 7% in that particular stock, what do they have to do? They have to sell it, regardless what price. They have to sell because that's their policy within the company. And they sell 2%, which could worth $1 billion, $2 billion, and it affects the price. And there you can come and buy it. Okay, so if it's the right time to do it.
All right, so the question I asked was the horizontal line is a timeline, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I wanted to know what's the time period? Is it years, months, or what?
Years,
Because
assuming years.
it's in years.
Years, yeah, because businesses, they don't grow within months. Usually it takes like years to grow. Okay, for example, imagine that here is the chain of restaurants and it has 10 shops. Here,
February.
here they opened one more within the next 6 months, then another 2 more in another 6 months. So they're growing steadily, whereas the price can jump not 10% but 15, 20% in price. So, and 3 years or 4 years from now, the value increase, the asset and value as a business increase maybe 50%, but the price will double. Okay, so that's the thing. And when something bad happens with the same company, they still have those stores, but maybe their revenue dropped down or something else happened. And in general, they lost maybe 10-15% of the business, but the price will halve. Okay, so and we're going to look at the one company today. Now, that's for example reaction on Brexit. You know, UK they decided to leave
EU.
EU. Now, that's just 101 companies in the watch list I have. I deleted the names, but now, do you believe that because of that, all the companies in the world, and it was like general for the whole stock market, gone worse?
Instability.
It's instability, it's emotions. Some businesses,
Political.
they will benefit, right, out of like when they breathe on the legs. Some businesses will suffer, but it cannot be like that, right? For 2 days, for 3 days, it was fall like that. 2 days later, it was otherwise. So if you think logically, like, can business, because you're buying business, you become a business owner, can business within 3 days become worse, and then within 2 days, 3 days later, become better again? No.
No, it's not.
It's all emotions. Now, the thing is that before it happens, our club members and we know what we want to buy. We already have quality stock, quality, good, excellent companies on the watch list. we're monitoring them, and we know at what price we're happy to buy them. Because first step what we do, we analyze the quality business, we put it in the watch list. If it's overvalued, we just monitor it. And we know at what price we're going to buy it. And as soon as it falls below the price we're happy to buy it, we buy it. So when it was happening, a lot of our club members, they were just buying like crazy. 3 days later, they had 10% income.
So they're sitting there watching the market?
Yeah, they had the limits buying price, or they had orders set. I have a software which allow me kind of get a market price to Excel sheet, and I have all these companies, and I have target buying price. And as soon as the price on the market drops below the target buying price, it becomes green. So I know that this company is now becomes below the price I wanted to pay for this. So I straight away go and look at this one more time and decide, okay, if I'm happy to buy this particular stock, is it only Brexit affected the price or something else? Maybe they had some issues, and then I already make my final decision if I want to allocate my money there or not.
But then if all your club members are doing the same thing, won't you run out of stock, or will there be enough that...
It's no,
No.
it's all different because it's huge market. I mean, our club members, it's like a drop in the ocean. It's something like that.
Is this the Australian market?
No, it's US market.
That's US.
It's US market.
So you
That's why actually we trade in US market,
Yeah.
because it's much bigger.
Small,
The Australian market is really small.
tiny.
So you're sitting up watching the US market?
Yeah,
When do you sleep?
during the day. But no, it's a joke. But the thing is that you don't have to watch it all the time, and I will show you why. Because you can do everything what you want during the day, set the order, and go to sleep. You don't have to stay up.
In the US, it's during the day, we are at night.
Yes. You don't have to do this. I mean, the computers now, they do everything. You set the limit, you set the price. I want to buy at this price, that's it.
Like sometime like BHP, its share was $50 or something. It's a blue chip company, and you say you monitor that company, and it's a strong company. It's go to 5% lower. You say this is your buying price. Like how you can predict this company came from $50, it's a strong company, and it's come to now $18 and $19.
So that's why you never pay attention to the price level. You always pay at the value level. We just talked about it, because the price can go from $160 to $16. You need to understand where the intrinsic value, where you're happy to start buying it. And the big difference between value investing and I would say just trading, the strategy itself. So now, what happens if value investor found a great company, absolutely amazing company, and bought it assuming a $10 price, and it went to $8? What do you think value investor will do? Assuming that the company fundamental stays equally good.
Hold it,
Hmm?
not sell it.
Hold it. Anything else? Might buy more.
To bring the average.
Bring the average price down. And like imagine a situation, who loves chocolate? You love chocolate. Imagine that I have a friend, he loves chocolate, he eats every day, he's a young guy, he can eat. Like every day, he buys a chocolate. Now, imagine on Friday, after his work, he goes to the shop and sees his chocolate with 30% discount. What does he do?
Buy 2 or 3.
Buy
4.
2 or 3, right? Week supply. Saturday, he goes to another shop, sees his chocolate, 50% discount.
Takes 30% back and returns it.
Buy some more.
Buy more. He's not going, oh my goodness, what happened? I'm going to sell my chocolate because it's at lower price.